Part 85. The Koi Fairy Wife is Sweet as Honey, Love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Su Xiaozhaji. Chapter 842. Not Sweet Talk. Jinli felt that his mind must be muddled at the moment. Otherwise, why don't you always know what Lu Zhenjie is talking about? She is obviously a clever little fairy fish. However, at this moment, she could only look at him blankly. Lu Zhenjie. He looked helpless. You really don't know romance at all. Jinli. But the man in front of him quickly laughed indulgently. But, you wooden fish, I never counted on you. I love you, not sweet words, but from the bottom of my heart. Jinli's eyes widened. That's what it means. She understood now. But my mind was even more confused. In a daze. The person in front of him was still looking at him, as if waiting for his response. Jinli felt her face burning and nervous, so she blurted out in a hurry, then, thank you. The atmosphere in the car was momentarily awkward. Lu Zhenjie didn't say anything else, and continued driving quietly, and the two arrived at Bajhan Hall. He didn't talk much in the first place, so it didn't seem strange for him to be quiet like this. No wonder. Too strange. Jinli secretly looked at his face, very calm, not angry or unhappy. Jinli thought he knew something about Lu Zhenjie. The dishes were served plate by plate. Bajhan Pavilion, the so-called Bajhan, is naturally the signature Bajhan meal. Chef 8's best dishes were served by well-trained service staff. After asking the two of them if they had any other requests and getting a negative answer, the service staff quietly retreated out, leaving enough space for the two of them. Looking at the delicate dishes in front of her, Jinli didn't stretch out her chopsticks, but called the man sitting beside her, Lu Zhenjie. Lu Zhenjie looked at her, huh. Looks normal, tone is normal. Can't see anything wrong at all. Jinli was slightly relieved. Now that she has let go of her heart, the fresh and fragrant food taste, which was ignored before, naturally occupies her mind. Jinli happily ate it. If you eat something you really like, you will be amazed. Lu Zhenjie, this is delicious, try it. Yeah, Lu Zhenjie picked up his chopsticks. Lu Zhenjie, this is so tender. Yes, Lu Zhenjie picked up his chopsticks again. Very cooperative. Jinli stopped. She thought for a while, put down her chopsticks, took a small clean bowl to serve Lu Zhenjie a bowl of soup, and handed it over in a fawning manner. This soup is very fresh, would you have a sip? Lu Zhenjie glanced at her, put down his chopsticks, took the soup, took a spoonful of it, and drank it. Well, it's delicious. Jinli. She finally understood what was wrong. Although Lu Zhenjie seemed to be very cooperative with him, he responded to everything he said and did. But, it feels so perfunctory. It's that kind of aggrieved feeling that you obviously feel that he is absent-minded, but on the surface, he is obviously doing a good job. Jinli, are you angry with me? Overlord, I'm not. Jinli pursed her lips. Lu Zhenjie, you're not happy. Overlord, I haven't. Jinli snorted, slapped the chopsticks on the table, and asked him, then why are you like this? Lu Zhenjie also put down his chopsticks, taking a moment to relax. How am I? Jinli, I'm so happy to talk to you, but you've been perfunctory me. Lu Zhenjie propped his chin and looked at Jinli. Really? Let me talk about a happy, unhappy, unfortunate thing. I got news from my editor today that Jinli will have an update early next month. My salted fish was so excited that I got cave. Once I got cave, there will only be 4 shifts today. Paralysis. The reason for defrauding tickets today is to forcibly touch porcelain. This salted fish author is lying on the ground and can't get up. He needs a monthly ticket to stand up. The Koi Fairy Wife is Sweet as Honey, Love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Su Xiaozhaji. Chapter 843. You have, Jinli said affirmatively. Lu Zhenjie was not angry either, and asked, then how do you think I'm perfunctory for you? He reasoned with her, look, you asked me to eat, and I ate it all. I asked me to drink soup, and I drank it too. Whatever you asked me to do, I did everything. Sounds like the perfect boyfriend. But, it doesn't feel right. Jinli's words sounded a little vexatious. Lu Zhenjie was still very patient. What does it feel like? What's wrong and what's wrong? Jinli. If it was another person, she would definitely refuse to talk to him. It's really annoying to get to the bottom of it. Fish never like to do such embarrassing things. But this person is Lu Zhenjie. She is the first fairy she likes in so many years. It's different from everyone else. The little fairy thought in distress. Xiao Xianyu, who was in deep thought, didn't notice that the people around him didn't seem to be so careless at this moment. The eyes that looked at her were clearly full of tenderness and love. I see, Jinli said suddenly. Lu Zhenjie closed his eyes and met Shang Jinli's. I can't feel your heart, Jinli said seriously. Lu Zhenjie was a little surprised, a little happy in his heart, but his face remained calm. Oh? What do you mean? Jinli, when you do a lot of things for me, I can feel it. You put a lot of thought into it. You want me to be happy and like me. I can also feel your heart. Including this lunch. Lu Zhenjie looked at her quietly, listening to Jinli continue to talk. But just now, you looked no different from usual. You still followed me in everything, but I felt that you were not paying attention, you were perfunctory me. The joy I wanted to share with you, I didn't get the same amount of response at all. So there was a sense of boredom that punched cotton. The more Jinli talked, the brighter her eyes became. Yes. That's it? She looked at Lu Zhenjie, is that so? Lu Zhenjie didn't speak. He just looked at her quietly. Jinli met his gaze, looked into the bottomless eyes, and suddenly froze. She seemed to understand what Lu Zhenjie meant. It wasn't that he suddenly lost his mind on himself. He did it on purpose. And why did he do this on purpose? Jinli's ears turned red little by little. She stood up suddenly and stared at Lu Zhenjie. You are really bad. After speaking, turn around and leave. But how could the man who had been waiting for her to understand by herself allow the little fairy fish with a full mouth to leave? With just a slight tug, he held her hand and brought her into his arms. Understood, he asked in a low voice. Jinli didn't speak. Her eyes are still a little red. Angry. This big trotter bullies the fish. Lu Zhenjie saw her red eyes. There was a secret pain in his heart, but he forced himself to be ruthless. She'll never really understand unless she picks it up. Do you think I'm bullying you? He could see what Jinli was thinking at a glance. Jinli closed her mouth and snorted. Lu Zhenjie showed such a sad look. You tell me that a dish is delicious, and I don't appreciate it so much, so you will be so unhappy. Then Jinli, have you ever thought that I would really treat a dish like that? Hold a heart in front of your face, tell you it beats for you, and you don't take it seriously. Have you ever thought about my sadness? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Koi Fairy Wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Sushao Zhaji. Chapter 844. Jinli defended, I didn't take it seriously. Really? A smile appeared in Lu Zhenjie's eyes, then you are telling me that you take it to heart. Jinli. Lu Zhenjie only saw a silver light flash in his arms. A gust of wind blew the door open, and the fish in his arms had disappeared. Looking at the empty room, Lu Zhenjie laughed softly. He didn't go. Just sat in the seat, closed eyes, and waited. An hour later, the service staff came in to clear the table. Seeing that there was only one person here, They didn't say anything, but asked softly when the afternoon tea would be served. Lugenja only said, "Wait, I will call you if necessary." "Good sir." Another half-hour passed. Jinli pushed the door open and came in, looking at Lugenja with a smile. "Just now the waiter asked if you want to have afternoon tea. Are you here for food?" he asked thoughtfully. If Jinli responded, the matter would be over. But Jinli hesitated for a moment and shook his head. "No." Jinli looked at Lugenja seriously. "I came here on purpose to give you an answer." Lugenja seemed a little surprised, but also expected. He had always known that this little fairy fish in front of him, although spoiled by the elders, had always had a daring temperament. "I'm sorry," Jinli said. "I used to rely on being favored and hurt others without knowing it." Lugenja shook his head lightly. "You know, Jinli, I am willing to do this. You know, the answer I want to hear is not this one." The tips of Jinli's ears started to turn red again. Only this time she didn't escape. She raised her chin slightly, with a proud look. I like you quite a bit too." Lugenja's eyes lit up, and he followed closely. "I really like it. How much do I like it?" "Jinli." She stared at Lugenja. "You are so annoying. Let the little fairy confess her love, and still talk so much." But even though she said that men are annoying, she still frowned and replied, "Yes, I like it more than everyone else." Thunder suddenly appeared in the clear sky. Jinli's eyes lit up. "It's Father Tiandeo." "Lugenja." He glanced out of the window, and couldn't help cursing in his heart, "It will spoil my good deeds. Don't think that I dare not scold you because you are the way of heaven, okay?" He really didn't dare to scold in person. After all, this is not only Tiandeo, but also his girlfriend's father. But President Ba had beeped many times in his heart. The complacent Pixio decides not to argue with the narrow-minded Tiandeo for the sake of the little fairy saying that she likes her very much. He was so blessed that he suggested, "Jinli, I like you, and you like me too. So we are in love with each other." Jinli glanced out of the window several times. Seeing Tiandeo's father appear for an instant, he disappeared, and looked away disappointed. When she heard Lugenja's words now, she was a little puzzled. "The two are in love, what's wrong?" "Lugenja, we're both happy with each other, why don't we get married?" Jinli. Boom. Thunder during the day. Outside the house, I could even vaguely hear the exclamation of the waiter at the Bajhan Hall. Both of them felt the anger of that person from the sound of thunder. The translation is probably, "Ba. Four corners. Insidious boy. You actually want to trick my daughter Goose. Dream." Lugenja sneered. "Sooner or later, there will be such a day. Dad, you have to accept the reality. Two more. See you later." The Koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi goddess. Author, Sushao Zhaji. Chapter 845. The thunder in mid-air rang for a long, long time. Lugenja was very confident. Because he is very clear, Tiandeo will not really do anything to himself in this small world. Moreover, even if he really wanted to do something to him, Lugenja said that he was not afraid. "Better strike me with lightning." The little fairy fish didn't feel sorry for the skin and flesh. Knowing the thoughts of this sinister child, Tiandeo's father was even angrier. Pooh! It really is not a good thing. Jinli didn't know how much communication had taken place between his Tiandeo father and his boyfriend in just a few moments. She yelled out strangely, "Father Tiandeo, what do you want to say?" As soon as she opened her mouth, the thunder suddenly became much gentler. But Jinli didn't get any answer. Jinli probably also knew that Lugenja must have disliked him to the extent that Tiandeo's father doted on him. She then said, "Actually, Lugenja is quite nice. He likes me very much and treats me very well. Father Tiandeo, please don't dislike him so much." Thunder. The thunder was smaller than before. Although what Tiendeo wants to do now is to hang up a certain pixie and chop it up, but his daughter has spoken, of course he has to show face. And, Tiendeo understands even more how much this pixie really likes his silly fish daughter. If it weren't for knowing this, he would just throw a thunder so easily and get it done. Lu Zhenjie stood aside with a smile and listened to Jin Li speak for him. His thoughts flickered, and he thought of a certain time long ago. Tisk, Tiendeo, this bad old man, wasn't like this before. In the end, after raising Jin Li for hundreds of thousands of years, he really had the heart of an old father. Here, Jin Li was about to coax her father with a good voice. Lu Zhenjie said abruptly, "That's right, Father Tiendeo, you are Jin Li's father, so naturally you are my father. When we get married, I will invite you." Jin Li. Jin Li took a look and saw that the sky had completely darkened. I walked to the bed and saw, good guy, the entire sky was covered by layers of dark clouds, and there was a tendency of a storm. Jin Li stopped talking. She gave Lu Zhenjie a white look. "You provoked it yourself, you can solve it yourself." She muttered, "I don't know what good it is for you to provoke Father Tiendeo on purpose." Lu Zhenjie did stand at the window. Jin Li didn't know if he was using divine thoughts to communicate with Tiendeo's father, but half a quarter of an hour later, the golden light pierced the darkness, and the golden crow broke out of the clouds. The black cloud receded and everything returned to normal. The frightening sky just now seemed to have never existed at all. Lu Zhenjie's face turned pale. Jin Li glanced at him and asked, "Did Father Tiendeo punish you?" Lu Zhenjie thought for a while. "It's not such a severe punishment." Jin Li felt it and was sure that there was nothing wrong with Lu Zhenjie. She asked curiously, "Actually, I want to know more, how did you calm down Tiendeo's father?" If she angered Tiendeo's father when she was a child, the best way was to act like a baby. There is nothing that can't be solved by being coquettish. If it's not enough to act like a baby, then call dad twice more, and give it a kiss. Lu Zhenjie can't coax his father like this, can he? But Lu Zhenjie showed her a mysterious smile. "This is a secret." Jin Li. At the same time, because of the appalling celestial phenomenon just now, there have been many discussions on the internet. The koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the koi goddess. Author, Sushao Zheji. Chapter 846. It was really because the dark cloud came too suddenly just now, and it didn't just appear in a certain place. Everyone saw the vision. The rolling thunder that came and went quickly was really abnormal, and it couldn't be ignored. There have been many online video recordings and forwarding on the internet. Everyone is joking. I don't know where the fellow Taoist is going through the catastrophe here. The old man counted his fingers. "I am afraid that someone has already become a fairy. My friend and I were climbing the mountain, we had just reached the top, and when we encountered such a battle, we almost cried." The friend who climbed the mountain, did you see any vision? Of course, everyone was just joking around. People in Huiguo grew up with materialism since childhood, and they don't think that there will be anything beyond the scope of natural laws in this world. Everyone laughed and laughed, and it's over now. But for the Divine Supervisory Council, this is far from the past. The moment the billowing thundercloud appeared, everyone in the Divine Supervisory Council noticed. At the same time, all abnormal energy detectors issued red alarms immediately. But the alarm lasted only a few seconds before it died down. It was directly paralyzed. All the analysts looked at the number detected by the energy detector 1 second before the paralysis, and fell into a deep silence. The eye-eyed brother who had met Jin Li and Lu Zhenjie at the supervision meeting before turned pale. This machine must be malfunctioning, right? Long Hao glanced at him. The energy detectors all over the country are malfunctioning at the same time. But the glasses boy had a dazed expression on his face. But how is this number possible? How can lightning have such a large energy? Even if we are all in the flower country, No, all the people with special abilities in the world will be added to it together, it's impossible to have such a fraction, right? Long Hao thought for a while, walked out of the room, and called Jin Li. Although he didn't have any evidence, he always felt that this matter had something to do with Jin Li and the others. Who made these two the only two gods in this world? Even if it wasn't them, they should know something that humans don't. The call was quickly connected. Because of the frequent calls for a long time in the past, Long Hao has now been classified by Jin Li as a very familiar human being. Long Hao is not someone who likes to talk nonsense, so he cut straight to the point. The thundercloud just now, do you know what happened? Jin Li, huh? That, I know, it was made by my father. Long Hao. Jin Li had said a long time ago that he had a father, and the Daoist Association and the Supervision Committee had always thought it was some kind of hidden senior. Later, Jin Li's little fairy's identity was exposed, and many people didn't care about that father, thinking it was just a nonsense statement made by Jin Li. Now Jin Li meant that her father was real? Isn't the fairy's father also a fairy? Looking at the battle just now, it must not be a simple fairy. Long Hao's voice was a little dry. Did your father also come to our Hua country? Didn't you say before that there are only two gods in this world, you and Mr. Lu? Jin Li shook her head. No, my father won't come to your place. Your world is too weak to withstand my father's strength. It was just a ray of his divine thoughts just now. Long Hao. A ray of divine sense. He remembered the terrifying number of an energy detector. My lord, what exactly is there? 4 more. Little fairy, my dad is the dad you can't get. Call for Father Tiandeo and vote monthly for Father Tiandeo. Ow. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Koi Fairy Wife is Sweet as Honey, Love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Su Xiaozhaji. Chapter 847. While waiting for Jin Li's reply, Long Hao even lost his mind. It is said that Jin Li was originally a koi that could bring good luck. So, is her father also a koi? Big koi. Jin Li replied very naturally, my father is my father. Long Hao. Jin Li. That's right, Father Tiandeo, he can't speak in front of ordinary people at all. She thought for a while, and changed the way of saying, is there a Taoist ancestor in your mythology? Long Hao didn't quite understand why Jin Li had pulled this out all of a sudden, so he nodded, yes. Jin Li said, that's all I remember. Didn't he say that he transformed himself into the Tao, transcending saints? She spoke in such detail that Long Hao felt a little terrified. Because he had dealt with him a few times, he understood that Jin Li was not someone who liked to talk nonsense. Since she said Dao Ziu Hung Jun, there must be her reasons. A bold guess came to Long Hao's heart, then your father. Jin Li, my father is just like the Taoist ancestor in your legend. Long Hao. He hung up the phone. Jin Li. Isn't it too fast to throw it away after using it? Sure enough, Long Hao is still so unpleasant. In fact, this time she really wronged Long Hao. It was just because he was too shocked that he softened his hands and hung up the phone accidentally. Jin Li didn't know how much shock he had brought to the other party with a casual sentence. Daozu. Jin Li's father, who talks about it every day, is actually from the heavens, to put it in a more fashionable way, number 1 boss. Therefore, they always thought that Jin Li, who was just an ordinary little fairy in the heavens, was actually the little princess of the heavens. Because Long Hao was so shocked, he looked more indifferent than usual. Without further ado, he called Shui Liadao, Qing Yangzi and other Taoist elders, and then called his immediate superior. Let's have a meeting together. His tone was very anxious, and everyone didn't know why, so they rushed over in a hurry. Captain Long, you are in such a hurry and called us over, did something serious happen? Xuelia asked first. The daemon found out that Long Hao actually called several core executives from the Supervision Bureau, and he couldn't help being a little surprised. Not all of the top executives of the Supervision Bureau are people with special abilities, and they even have two faces, which ordinary people can often see in the news. Generally, they don't show up unless it's an emergency. Everyone looked at Long Hao. Long Hao said blankly, I found out the origin of the unknown thundercloud in the afternoon. Everyone was shocked. What's the situation? Long Hao, it does have something to do with Jinli and Mr. Lu. Qin Jiangzi breathed a sigh of relief. It's okay, these two created a battle, at least it won't be detrimental to Huaguo. Long Hao glanced at him. No, it's not that simple. Qin Jiangzi. The first 60-year-old man took a look at Long Hao. Don't fool us old men, Long Hao, just say it directly. Long Hao nodded. Okay, Mr. Li. He took a deep breath. I called Jinli to confirm the situation. She said that it was made by her father. The overwhelming thundercloud was just a ray of his father's spiritual thoughts. Everyone, especially the people from the Taoist sect who knew the terrifying power of the thundercloud, changed their expressions. It's just a ray of divine thought. The koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the koi goddess. Author, Sushao Zheji. Chapter 848. It's just a ray of divine thought. Long Hao nodded, looking around at the crowd. Besides, Jinli told me the identity of the father she often talks about. Everyone's curiosity was suddenly aroused. Seeing Long Hao's expression, they all understood in their hearts, presumably, Jinli's father must have a high status. But no matter how high they guessed, they didn't dare to guess the one at the top. Long Hao didn't hold back anymore. Jinli's father, she wanted to tell me directly, but she couldn't tell him his name at all. In the end, Jinli told me this. Long Hao looked at the Daoist people. In the ancient myths of our Huaguo, the Daoist Hung Jun who fits the Dao with his body is probably the same existence as her father. His. Everyone in the Taoist sect gasped, and looked at Long Hao in surprise. You, Dragon Team, are you sure you're not joking? Long Hao said, I think, no god would dare to take it. He made a pointing gesture. Are you kidding me? Everyone was silent. Really? Their cultivators know the importance of words better than ordinary people. Like some powerful beings, even thousands of miles away, when his name is mentioned, he can feel it at any time. As for the existence of heavenly Dao, it is even more terrifying. In the 3,000 worlds, there is no corner that is not his territory. Who dares to make a joke of heaven? Aren't you afraid of being struck to death by a thunderbolt? Speaking of thunder, they thought of the terrifying thundercloud in the afternoon. If it is the way of heaven, then it makes sense. The entire conference room fell into silence. It was the old Li who broke the silence. He smiled and said, you don't need to be so serious, and you don't need to worry. That little friend Jinli, doesn't she have a good personality and enjoy her life in Huaguo? If that's the case, what is her identity? How powerful her father is, and what does it have to do with us? Qin Jiangzi pulled out a difficult smile. Old Li, even though you say that, we understand the truth. But that's, Not surprisingly, he couldn't say those two words at all. Qin Jiangzi, I just want to be calm. Just think about it, I and that daughter actually call each other friends. I, Qin Jiangzi, have deserved it in this life. Speaking of which, the older generation of Daemon thought that Jinli was too much in the limelight in the entertainment industry, and the young people were too flamboyant, and they didn't know how to restrain their edge and hide their strengths. In the future, they might suffer losses. Later, I found out that she was not an ordinary Taoist, but a little fairy from the sky, so I thought it was normal for her to be like this. After all, who could count on a little fairy? No matter what she does, she can handle it by herself. And at this moment, after knowing whose daughter she is, everyone, wow, Jinli really has a good temper. Thinking about it, I don't think she's spoiled at all. What's a straight temper? What's a liking for others? What's a lazy? Isn't it normal for the world to turn upside down? She is, the little fairy with the number one backer in heaven and earth. Can you walk sideways everywhere? Xueleadao's expression suddenly became a little unnatural. He said, should I prepare some gifts and go talk to little friend Jinli? He felt that it was inappropriate for the little friend to shout, because people were much older than him in terms of age. Apologized to Fairy Jinli. He had scolded the girl doll for being arrogant and ignorant before. Even if Jinli didn't care, who knew her parents didn't care? Old Xue said, suddenly follow my heart. Today's 6 update. Good night. The reason for cheating today is of course Papa Tiendeo. Dedicate all the tickets in your hand to Papa Tiendeo. The koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the koi goddess. Author, Sushao Zheji. Chapter 849. Xueleadao's sincere remarks really shocked others. Qin Jiangzi looked surprised, as if meeting this Taoist priest for the first time. Old Taoist Xue, are you really old Taoist Xue? Didn't you claim that you would never bow down to anyone? Taoist Xue. Being ridiculed like this, the old man who already cares about face naturally blushes. But the blush was the blush, and the words she said were justified. I didn't bow down for anyone. Jinli is not a human, she is a little fairy. Qin Jiangzi. Other people. Makes sense. Speechless. Asterisk. Daemon and the God Supervision Bureau quickly reached an agreement on how to treat Jinli. Although they were treated well enough before, but now I feel that it may not be enough. According to Mr. Li, make sure that Fairy Jinli can live comfortably and happily during her time in Huiguo. Mr. Li was just saying something, but if he really wanted to implement it, he had to rely on the Supervision Bureau. Long Hao. Why? Our Divine Supervision Bureau is a dignified and serious department. Why do you always do these unserious things? But the higher UPS have sent a message, what can Dragon Team do? Elder Li is also someone who watched him grow up, a genuine elder. Long Hao simply couldn't refuse when the other party asked. He could only temporarily pull a few confidants and subordinates to hold another meeting. Conference theme, what makes you happy? Subordinate number 1 from mission, I think having money makes me happy. When I'm not happy, as long as you tell me to increase my bonus this month, Team Dragon, I will become extremely happy. Long Hao. He thought about it for a while, and felt that his words made a lot of sense. But who is Jinli's boyfriend? It's Pixiu. The entire Divine Supervision Bureau combined is not enough for people to be rich. Therefore, Jinli already had this happiness. Subordinate number 1 proposal is unqualified, pass. Subordinate number 2 who goes on blind dates 7 times a month, I have something to say. I have something to say. Happiness is ending being single. Having a beautiful girlfriend. Marry. Marry. Long Hao. This subordinate really doesn't look very smart. If it wasn't for his excellent professional ability, Long Hao would not want to see him. Besides, is Jinli missing someone? The richest and most handsome man in Hua country is his boyfriend. Subordinate number 2 proposal is unqualified, pass. Subordinate number 3 is a taciturn girl, and Long Hao still looks forward to her. Number 3, I'm happy when I don't have to go to work. Long Hao. You are not reliable. Number 4, if I could be more handsome, I'd be happy. Long Hao thought of Jinli's amazingly beautiful face and fell silent. Number 5. Number 6. In the end, Long Hao drove everyone out. Tisk, a group of completely unreliable guys. He thought for a while and remembered a person. Take out your phone. Hello, how? Long Hao's tone slowed down a bit. Is there anything going on tomorrow? Shall I go and see you? Wen Jiming was a little surprised. Aren't you busy with work? I don't have any work recently, and my manager is forcing me to lose weight. There was some dissatisfaction in his tone. Long Hao remembered Wen Jiming's expression when he said this. His mouth must be tightly pursed, revealing a shallow dimple, not at all like a man in his late 30s. If you are not fat, you are in good health. There is no need to be so picky, he said. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Koi Fairy Wife is Sweet as Honey, Love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Su Xiaozhaji. Chapter 850. Hey, I just like talking to you. When Jiming complained to him, you don't know that the friends in my circle, one by one, eat diet meals every day. Those clear water cabbages, are they eaten by people? I'll treat you to a big meal tomorrow, Long Hao said. In fact, he and Wen Jiming had little contact, but in fact he liked chatting with Wen Jiming very much. Except for the circle of the Supervision Bureau and Taoism, he has almost no friends. Wen Jiming is the only remaining old friend of many years. In front of his colleagues and subordinates, he is used to playing the role of a strong and indifferent dragon team. No one dares to joke with him, nor will he chatter with him. Only Wen Jiming still regarded him as a boyfriend. Every time I make a phone call or meet up, I care about his life, and more often talk about interesting things or unsatisfactory things in my life and work. Sometimes Long Hao would feel like a human being only at this time when he listened to it. Wen Jiming on the opposite side laughed. How is better. However, I can't eat too much. If I eat too much, I won't look good if I don't look on camera. He joked with a smile. After all, I also rely on my face to make a living. Long Hao said, don't be afraid, I have made a lot of money, I can support you. Wen Jiming was taken aback for a moment, then burst out laughing. You are really, I was joking, it's not like you don't know. Long Hao said seriously, I'm not joking, you can come to me at any time. I only have one friend, Wen Jiming, and I can give you all the money I earn. Wen Jiming, ha ha ha, don't curse me, I've been a film star for so many years, and I've earned a lot more than you. Long Hao didn't speak anymore. The two talked about something else before hanging up the phone. The next day, Long Hao went to find Wen Jiming. He is a very down-to-earth person, and when he said he would treat Wen Jiming to a big meal, he really found a restaurant with a good reputation and ordered a table full of dishes. Wen Jiming was surprised when he came. I remember it's very difficult to make an appointment here. You just said yesterday that you invited me to dinner. How did you get a place? Of course, it depends on the privilege of the Supervision Bureau. Long Hao said lightly, it's convenient to work. Hearing him talk about this mysterious job, Wen Jiming wisely shut up. He cherishes every dish with a chopstick and tastes it. After a lap, I was almost half full. Wen Jiming put down his chopsticks. Long Hao frowned and looked at him. Is this all you eat? No wonder it looks so thin and weak, and it will fall when the wind blows. Wen Jiming shook his head. Eat later. Why did you suddenly think of looking for me? Long Hao remembered his purpose today. Oh, I just want to ask you, under what circumstances would you feel comfortable and happy? After thinking about it, he felt that among the people he knew, Wen Jiming was the most reliable. Wen Jiming. What is the problem? But Long Hao clearly looked serious. Wen Jiming guessed, is Hao trying to make someone feel comfortable and happy? This sounds a bit strange. But it seems right. Long Hao nodded, yes. Wen Jiming rubbed his chin, thinking to himself, Hao has actually opened up. Hearing this, it is clear that he has fallen in love with a girl and wants to please her. This kind of experience cannot be taught blindly. He said cautiously, this is still up to the individual. Everyone likes and pursues different things, so we can't generalize. He pointed to himself, like me, how, you come to see me, I'm very happy. 2 more. You read that right, it's the second update in the early morning. Wow, I am overwhelmed by my diligence. I think today's diligence is worth a monthly pass. The Koi Fairy Wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Su Xiaozhaji. Chapter 851. Long Hao looked at Wen Jiming and shook his head. If I go to see her, she probably won't be happy. Thinking of Jin Li's troublesome look every time he saw him, Long Hao added, not only is she unhappy, she might also be a little annoyed. Wen Jiming. What's going on here? He looked at Long Hao, and thought that Hao's good looks and figure definitely had nothing to do with it. Under normal circumstances, girls would find his face pleasing to the eye and not upset. That's because of character. Hao's character is indeed a problem. Thinking of this, Wen Jiming said earnestly, Hao, there are too many things to pay attention to please girls. But I think the first thing you need to change is that you can't say a word for a long time. No matter how much a girl likes you, she can't stand your cold face every day. Long Hao. What are you talking about? Long Hao frowned and looked at Wen Jiming. You think I'm chasing someone? Wen Jiming was startled. Isn't it? Of course not. Long Hao scratched his hair irritably. He said, it's us, the company, we want to please one person. Wen Jiming blinked and understood. Similar to please your boss. Male or female? He asked. Long Hao, female. Wen Jiming thought for a while. Does the person you want to please have any hobbies? Like horseback riding and golf? If so, you can arrange it according to your preferences. Long Hao was silent for a moment, then shook his head. No. According to the first-hand information obtained by their supervision bureau, since Jin Li came to this world, he has not shown any special preferences at all. If it really counts, that is, like to show off your beauty, and like shiny gems? But for the former, their supervision bureau can't help much. The latter, I heard that Papa Pixio has a whole treasure trove, and he has everything the little fairy likes. So, start with hobbies, really, nothing to hope for. Wen Jiming. You don't have any hobbies? Then, what about your usual personality? There are always things you like and don't like, right? He asked unwillingly. Long Hao, personality, narcissism. She likes to be praised by others, whatever. She doesn't like, others question her? By the way, she likes good-looking people. Wen Jiming. He pondered, why do I hear your description, and I think it sounds familiar. But he didn't think too much about it, and jokingly said, otherwise, let your company find some beautiful and handsome employees, and praise her around every day. Long Hao. He felt that his old friend was not very reliable. Finally he said, let's eat. After eating, they sat and chatted for a while, and their phones rang almost at the same time. 2 minutes later, one said that the company had a temporary event, and the other said that the agent had something to do with him. Then see you next time. Okay, see you next time. Asterisk. When he was driving back, Wen Jiming suddenly realized, he has a narcissistic personality, he likes to be praised by others, and he also likes good-looking people. Isn't this Jin Li? Moreover, he remembered that Jin Li was also wearing a bracelet. Although he didn't know about Hao's specific work, he knew very well that the other's work was absolutely a secret that ordinary people and even ordinary wealthy families could not touch. But he said that their company wanted to curry favor with Jin Li. Wen Jiming suddenly felt that he might have discovered some big secret.